Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
We think the best version of him and surrounding him with other things gives us a really good chance. Ultimately, I can't sit here and tell you I know for certain what that's going to be, but we think that it gives us a great chance to be there at the end with a chance to do it. And so obviously extending him gives us more time, right? A lot of that is just these things don't take off in one day, in 1 month. These are things that take a little. Now they've had exposure together before, and I think the last time Kevin coached him, I think it was all under the same situation where it was a 1-year deal, and Kevin was like, "Look, I want to pour into this guy. I think he's one of the best quarterback guys I've ever been around. So I want to pour into this guy, see what the best he can be, and we'll see what happens in the end." But we thought that was the best path going forward.
Interesting. Kwesi talking about Kirk Cousins. We'll talk more about that too on Purple Daily the next day or two. But this is Feedback Friday on Mackey and Judd, where every single week we take your comments, questions, concerns, critiques, whatever it is. You want to take shots at us, you can take shots. If you want to praise us lavishly, we're certainly not above reading that type of stuff. How are you guys doing today on this Friday here? I know Judd's a little disappointed that the Twins blew a lead late last night. Winnable game.
No disappointment. I just love the anger, the angst that the fan base is feeling. It makes me, it feels like the Score North lifestyle is being adopted by many.
The Score North lifestyle isn't just angst.
Yeah, and negativity.
What do you think the Score North lifestyle is? Just be mad all the time? Angst?
The Score North lifestyle is to adjust one's views to the reality of what is going on, not to what the Pollyanna tells you to do.
Okay. I just want to be clear. Because sometimes people think that the Score North lifestyle is just be mad and have hot takes.
It's reckless speculation, too. I feel like when we started this, reckless speculation was like, oh, you guys, this is stupid. It's not going to happen. And now I feel like there's a whole group of very, very smart, forward-thinking people who are like, yeah, bring that on. Because they realize weird things can take place.
Here's some speculation for you. Get Royce Lewis back up. That's my speculation for you.
No. Nick Gordon is fine.
Yeah, he looks great. It's great. Anyhow, all right. That's the extent of our Twins talk today on Mackey and Judd.
Talking Twins.
Yep. Let's dive into the Vikings feedback here. This is from Jake T via the Score North app. Hello, Philip. Sends this to me. By the way, it's Philip with one L. If you're going to address me.
I was about to ask. It's one L in the Philip, right? No two L's.
Efficiency. You don't need the two L's.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does. I don't like when people spell Declan wrong.
J-U-D-D.
So if someone spells your name J-U-D, you're just good with it? You don't care?
I notice it, but you know what? It's 2022. People can barely spell now.
Well,
like Twitter has made people, but I just don't get. I'm done with it.
Let's raise our standards for spelling people's names right. He says, love the show. Just want to give some of my thoughts while we prepare for the 2022 season. The Vikings have a bright future ahead of them. We are currently one of the youngest teams in the league. Veterans on this team that can lead the young guys, put them in the best positions to be successful. The offense is loaded. The defense has lots of promise with Ed Donatel at the helm. And Kevin O'Connell is going to utilize the talent on offense in ways that we have not seen before. I have been very negative about this team, but I know this is a new beginning for this franchise. We as fans cannot live in the past toward the end of the Zimmer and Spielman era. This franchise was stale and toxic. I realistically see the Vikings making the playoffs and having a deep run. If the Bengals can do it in a loaded AFC last year, the Vikings can sure as hell do it in a weak NFC. I love the positivity and the fresh outlook from Jake. Judd, I'm guessing you have a giant bucket of cold water. Go ahead.
Well, no, I love the fresh outlook because I think it's called for. Like, part of that statement that Jake made is just spot on. Like, yeah, don't live in last year. The last 2 years have sucked. They've been no fun. They've been joyless experiences. That being said, the Bengals thing is interesting because you know what? The Bengals have Jamar Chase. Vikings have Justin Jefferson. So, like, parallel right there, right? Complete parallel. The quarterback thing. That's what's interesting about that. Like, if you really want to break this down, and I'm not gonna crap on Jake because Jake came with like a well thought out reason, not just they're going to be good. I've been told that they're going to be good or that they should be. But the quarterback thing is so intriguing because I mean that's it, right? Joe Burrow, unbelievable. And there were many of us who thought he'd be good, but not that good. And then of course there's Phil Mackey, who said he was going to be great. But I love it, and I love the fact it's thought out, And this gets back to why, and this is not being sarcastic. I've gotten some pushback on this. I'm not being a jerk about this. This is why my biggest thing for the 2022 Vikings is like really big intrigue. Like what Jake said there. Can it happen? If things go right, if the right people play right, if Kevin O'Connell is a really good coach, absolutely. They can be a playoff team. But don't you think that the intriguing thing is if you take the picture, if you take the blueprint from the Bengals and put it on the Vikings, does it match up?
Well, it is a really interesting comparison because both teams, and you mentioned some of the similarities, but both teams last year had rickety offensive lines, and both teams had some interesting pieces on defense. The Bengals defense turned out to be better than the Vikings defense because of the injuries to the Vikings defense. And you could even make a case, so Joe Burrow's statistics were better than Kirk's, but you could go look at the back of the football card stats and say, oh, okay, they both, Kirk threw for 4,200, Burrow threw for 4,600. They both played the same amount of games. Burrow 34 touchdowns, Kirk 33. Burrow had twice as many interceptions as Kirk. Oh my God, the ghastly interceptions. We can't throw interceptions, right? Passer rating 108, 103. So on paper, you could look at the two quarterbacks and be, oh, okay, pretty similar. Burrow had a few more yards here, higher passer rating, but Kirk had fewer interceptions there. But if you actually watch the games and watch those guys play and watch their personalities and the way they interact with teammates and the way they bounce back from adversity, Joe Burrow, almost a decade younger than Kirk, is just on a totally different level. And I think that's the difference. That's what gets you an extra, that's what gets the Bengals to, I think it was 10 or 11 wins in the regular season as opposed to 8 or 9. That's what gets you an extra road playoff win or two instead of just maybe one win and done in the playoffs. Having that guy that can just rise up in those moments. So can Kirk become something closer to that with better infrastructure? We're going to find out in 2022. But yeah, it's hard to put the Bengals and Vikings in the same category because Joe Burrow is just a different dude than Kirk Cousins to me.
But I like where Jake's going. Like he is still, his note to me makes this a topic, like of why. And I like enthusiasm that's not just blind, hey, they're going to be good, right? It's like, no, here's why I think. So I appreciate what Jake had.
Nice. All right. Tim Green via the Score North app. I love this question. This is sort of we used to do a segment on the show called Alternate Reality, which we should probably bring that back this summer.
Yeah.
Some alternate Vikings realities.
Love alternate reality.
And so Tim says, Declan, this is a different type of alternate reality that we're talking about. I think the alternate reality you're talking about is the Friday night, Saturday night alternate reality in the North Loop.
Oh.
But I digress. Tim Green says, let's say that Rick takes Zim's advice and never brings Kirk Cousins in. Because, Mike Zimmer was saying in 2018, got to be careful paying a quarterback that much money. It's not a good thing. I could get fired at some point, which he did. Where do you think the team is now if Zimmer gets his way in 2018 and they don't sign Kirk Cousins? Do you think Zimmer getting his way, being happy, stacking his defense, and hoping for the best at quarterback would have us closer to a Super Bowl? Or maybe already have one? Or does Zim's negativity and crass personality still end up ruining the team anyway? I think we're in pretty good shape, close to a Lombardi if that happens, or maybe already won one. The fact that Cousins survived while Mike didn't really rubs me the wrong way.
Fair.
What do you think?
I don't think they win a Super Bowl. I think Mike's act, no matter what, eventually wears thin because this is a shelf life league and Mike is a shelf life human. But do I think that they are a happier collection that in 18 can make a run of some sort or 19, that goes beyond what they did and the joylessness, unfortunately, with which it seemed to transpire? Yes. Do I think that they win a Super Bowl with that strategy? That all depends on one thing. If it's not Kirk, who is it? Like if it's Case, because you could have easily justified Case coming back in 18. Do I think that with a really good defense and Case Keenum a quarterback that leads them to a Super Bowl? No, I don't.
Yeah, I think
I think everyone's happier. How about that? It's just more content, I think, for a while around TCO.
Well, so Case wound up signing a 2-year, $18 million contract with Denver. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like his one good year was with the Vikings. So it just felt like a magic carpet ride, perfect situation. I don't know that if you just ran it back with Case Keenum that you would have had similar results. I think they had a chance and they missed their chance in 2017, and it was the right move to move on and try and upgrade at quarterback, and then it didn't work in 2018-19. But the other interesting scenario here is let's go back to that sort of spring of 2018. If they had decided, because Zimmer wasn't high on Case Keenum either. So if the whole premise of the question is if Zimmer gets his way, I don't think he wanted Keenum back as the starting quarterback. He was every single week, even when they would win games, he'd be complaining about you can't be throwing careless passes, this, that, right? So what were the other options? Well, Teddy Bridgewater was a free agent. I think he wound up going to the Saints or something, or the Jets.
The Jets and
for a
then
year.
traded to the Saints and before the season started.
But he wasn't ready to be a starting quarterback yet. So let's take him off the board. The other logical option would have been to draft Lamar Jackson late in the first round.
Oh, my God.
The Vikings had a late first-round pick. Yep. They were drafting 30th. Lamar Jackson went 32nd. So if they were going, and they probably would have, maybe they would have signed Case Keenum, and then, okay, listen, we think you might be okay for 2018, but we don't trust you long-term, so we're gonna sign Case Keenum and then draft Lamar Jackson. That would have been interesting. And then does Lamar Jackson become the MVP that he became in Baltimore under John Harbaugh and that staff with Mike Zimmer and whoever? I'm guessing that John DeFilippo would have been the offensive coordinator still. Like, how does that work 4 years ago if Lamar Jackson gets drafted by the Vikings? The 2019 draft was not a good quarterback draft. It would have been like another Christian Ponder situation, drafting Daniel Jones or something, middle of the first round.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I don't see Mike and his staff handling Lamar well. Like, I don't think it works out. He ended up going to the exact right place. John Harbaugh is a smart guy, a really smart guy. He's adaptable. Baltimore changed everything they did because they knew they had an inkling of what they had in Jackson. I think the only alternate reality that has the Vikings under Zimmer going to a Super Bowl and possibly, just possibly, winning is if Teddy's leg does not snap. That's the only alternate reality with Mike that I can think of because that was the plan. And he loved, I mean, in retrospect, we knew he liked Teddy a lot. I don't think we had any idea how much he abhorred the quarterback position. Like, it wasn't
That's an underrated word, by the way. Abhor. Abhor. Is the H silent in that word?
I think it's abhor.
Abhor?
Yeah.
Abhor. Abhor.
I don't think it's abhor. I think it's abhor.
Okay.
How much he despised. I'll change the word even. How much he despised. How despicable he found people that played that position. So that's the only alternate reality that I can think of in Mike's world where they actually make the type of run and it's seen through.
Yeah. I mean, it is if you are anti Kirk Cousins, which I don't know, this show has been accused of from time to time. It is very curious when you go back and look 4 years ago, a team coming off a 13-3 NFC Championship game season with the blueprint and the design that the head coach was hired to implement, right? Defense first, do what you can offensively, and just make that your identity. And then they start to go away from that from a personnel standpoint and a salary cap standpoint, and the coach puts out a warning flare. 4 years later, gets fired, and everybody looks at the coach as the cancer, even though he warned 4 years prior, hey, This isn't what I don't think this is the right thing.
He prophesized it.
He did. Now, maybe he manifested it in some ways, too, because
this show's going right.
It is your job to buy into the players that you have and to make it work, and that was his downfall. He does not deserve to be fully exonerated here.
Nope.
But I think we agree that he has become the scapegoat. That, oh my God, everything else was ready to rock and will be in 2022 for a Super Bowl run now that you've got this cancer out of the way. Well, was he a cancer 4 years ago? How much changed? He was cantankerous 4 years ago. I don't know. It's
one guy.
It's kind of a lazy narrative to just say that one guy is the reason. Anyhow.
Before Kirk and after Kirk.
Robert Wolf via the Score North app has a good story here. This is a little bit lengthy, but stick with me here. Love the show. Just a request from an old codger who's a 73-year-old Vikings fan. My dad, rest his soul, bought our tickets in 1961 and did not see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before he died. Can you please talk about what Kirk Cousins could learn from, in my humble opinion, from the greatest Vikings quarterback, Joe Cap? Well, there's a lot of people from older Vikings fans that swear by Joe Cap. I was born in the 80s, so I did not see Joe Cap play.
I didn't see Joe Cap play.
But he has an excerpt here, Robert Wolf, listener Robert, from an SI.com article. This is from the SI Vault back in 1970. He says, I think this excerpt captures the Joe Cap spirit very well. The Vikings were ahead 24-0 against the Browns. Most quarterbacks would have kept playing conservatively, keeping the ball on the ground, running out the clock. Not Joe Cap. With 3rd down and 4 yards to go on the Cleveland 47, he dropped back to pass. Unable to locate an open receiver, he ran to his right, turned upfield, and discovered his path was already occupied by Jim Houston, a 240-pound linebacker who's the best man on the Cleveland defense. Early in the game, the Vikings had directed most of their attack away from Houston on the sound theory that there are better places to go. Houston hit Cap head on. Cap went high in the air, spun half around, and landed on his back. After such an impact, you would expect the quarterback to be left for dead. Cap bounded to his feet. It was Houston who laid face down, blood running from his nose. Done for the afternoon. Cap trotted back, and the linebacker was done for the afternoon. Yep. Cap trotted back to the huddle, and a few plays later completed a 20-yard pass to the fullback Bill Brown, which set up a Fred Cox field goal, putting the Vikings up 27-0. So what can Kirk learn from Joe Cap? First, be a man. This is now from Robert, listener Robert.
Okay.
Be a man. Do your job, which means do everything you can do to win. Don't leave anything on the field when the game is over. Make the other team fear you. Have fun with enthusiasm. Joe was infectious that way, and we loved him for it. Lastly, do the noble thing in sincerely honoring your teammates. Joe refused the Vikings MVP award that season, saying, there is no one most valuable Viking. There are 40 most valuable Vikings. Dropped the mic and walked off the stage into Vikings history. Yes, he lost the first Super Bowl, but won the hearts of many Vikings fans.
So first of all, I think that hit that he's talking about against Cleveland, which might have been in the NFL championship game, is on YouTube. So I think that you can basically go back and watch it. It's a very impressive collision. It's very old school. Second of all, so yes, the motto with Cap, which the Vikings brought back at some point within the last, 30 years or something, was 40 for 60, because at that time there were 40 guys on the roster. Get it? 60 minutes. But the other thing is, after that, Joe.
For the Vikings now, it's 53 for 56 is this team's motto. You can ignore the 2 minutes at the end of each half.
Which is part of the problem. The thing is, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Cap then had a contract falling out with the team shortly thereafter, and that's what precipitated the return of Fran Tarkington. In other words, that's very Kirk-like. So I don't know. I love the sentiment, but Joe Cap was a different dude, and that's like saying Kirk should be like Brett Favre. To go back to what we've been saying for a while now, and this is where the curiosity about Kirk to me becomes so intriguing, is this one. Is Kirk really at a stage where he can learn new personality tricks? Because I think we all agree it's, and it's not a rip on Kirk. He's just at an age where you're ordinarily who you are. So, can he be improved as a quarterback? I think that's a legitimate question. I have my doubts, but as far as can Kirk become, can he watch Brett Favre and learn something? That's probably a reach.
I would love to see the Vikings on Hard Knocks just so everyone can see what that dynamic is like with Kirk and the team. And if you could go back, Zimmer and Kirk, wouldn't that have been a fun Hard Knocks experiment for a few weeks?
I wanted Zimmer on there badly.
It's kind of shocking the Vikings have never been on Hard Knocks. The show's been around for 15 seasons or something.
I think part of it is they were allowed to, through a lot of the things that have been put in now to the clause that can get you on or off it, I think they were allowed to skip it a lot. Because there's no way that HBO didn't say at some point in time, Zimmer has to be on this show.
Yeah. Because you can, especially with quarterbacks, you can watch that show and think, because I'm pretty sure, what year was Mark Sanchez was on the show as a rookie or second year guy. That was the Rex Ryan.
Eat a damn snack.
Get some damn snacks after he chews the team out. And you watch these quarterbacks and you see, oh, Mark Sanchez, oh, he's kind of a beta, not really a leader. You can kind of see it play out on Hard Knocks. Oh, Matt Ryan is a great leader. Okay, I see. Maybe not the most physically talented guy, mobility and stuff.
Right.
But you can really see that stuff on that show. Okay, Mike Rose via Twitter says, Score North is the worst. They do the hot take thing with all the local teams. Shock jocks trying to push buttons. Fans deserve better.
Yep.
Do you think we're hot? Are we shock jocks? The hot take thing, I always get bothered by this. If you have a strong opinion, it doesn't mean it's a hot take. It's just a strong opinion.
Right. Yeah. But it's been labeled that now.
And it's entertainment.
And
it's entertaining.
Here's the thing, I think, is because we certainly have fun, but we talk seriously about sports. Like we take, like it's not life and death, but I mean, it's to a lot of people important. I think we're perceived as shock jocks because in this town, there's a lot of people that just make fun of sports. So like we come off because we take it, because we want to have lots of times serious, in-depth, yet fun conversations about sports. That's mocked by people.
Also, I think, you and I have been doing podcasts and radio shows together for over 8 years. And when you're doing 2, 3, 4 hours of stuff on a microphone every day and you have opinions on things, as we do every Wednesday on Write That Down, you're going to be wrong sometimes. So it's like, that's a hot take. Look how wrong you were. Oh, yeah. I mean, not gonna bat 1,000. Entertainment purposes only. Should put a warning on the show, on the Twitter account. Acuta via YouTube says, Minnesota sports fans, this is a self-evaluation here from Acuta. Minnesota sports fans are so obnoxiously placid and defensively hopeful. Kirk Cousins is the personification of this weird complex. He is the embodiment of a Minnesota sports optimism rooted in not knowing what actual championships taste like.
Correct.
This
That's
is
very
a
interesting.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Oh, he's pretty good. Why would you want to? But if you are a Boston fan, or there's two generations of fans, we have no idea what championship success. We haven't seen one of the men's teams go to a championship since 1991, right? The North Stars and the Twins.
Yes, that is correct.
I mean, there's even two Twins fans in our Score North mentions, which I get to see every day, staring at my computer screen for 8 hours. Mackey talking about how last night, like, hey, if you want to lose Nick Gordon because you get Royce Lewis, like, that's okay. Like, if you're going to lose a fringe roster guy because you can get a better bat in the lineup, you should probably take that risk. So obviously I put that quote tweet, put a little graphic out there. 2 people so far. This is the worst Twins take I've heard this year, I think. That seems extremely aggressive. And another fan says, make the move. You should recall Mark Funderburk, and if that means losing David Ortiz to waivers, so be it. So we're comparing.
Whoa, what?
Losing losing Nick Gordon to David Ortiz. And it's the worst Twins take of all time to move off a fringe roster player. It goes back to the original commenter's point that we're so what if we lost Nick Gordon? Who cares if you lose Nick Gordon?
That's my front office. That's just to explain. We should do a segment called "Explain Your Tweet." Actually, I think Ryan Clark does that on ESPN. So maybe that's
I like that one.
Stealing a bit. So baseball front offices, and the Twins have done this through multiple different general managers, Bill Smith, Terry Ryan, where you've got a prospect. And in this case, a guy that came up for 2 weeks and raked and is continuing to rake in AAA, Royce Lewis. I think where it's a little bit more questionable is if you've got a prospect who's raking in the minor leagues but hasn't quite proven it in the major leagues, does he need to stay down there a little bit longer? But in this case, you have a guy that has shown you for 2 weeks, he's definitely not overmatched. Not that he's not going to go into a slump at some point. Okay, we've got 26 roster spots. Let's find room for a guy that is clearly one of the 10 best players, right? To make room, we would have to say goodbye to Nick Gordon because he's out of minor league options. If you say goodbye to him, then he gets exposed to the other 29 teams via waivers. So because he's out of minor league options, we can't risk him getting picked up by another team. Therefore, we're going to hold a clearly inferior player down in AAA. And I think that's more of a Twins in baseball thing than like a Minnesota fan thing. But it is interesting that there are a bunch of fans chirping this tweet with the same thing. Well, what happens if Nick Gordon turns into He's not going to.
He's not going to.
He wasn't that dude in the minor leagues. He was the 5th overall pick, and so there's probably still some potential there. But I'm not worried about a David Ortiz situation with Nick Gordon. By the way, another option would be just you don't need 14 pitchers all the time. So I think they have 13 right now. But
I had to get Smeltzer out of there. I don't know what you're talking about. You need 15 pitchers. 16.
wait, Smeltzer was dealing last night.
Did he get sent back down?
No, but you could tell he is very tired of how he's being treated, and I can't blame him.
Well, when you come up and you deal like that, and then after the game, we said we weren't going to talk Twins, but here we are. Rocco Baldelli made a comment after the game. Somebody asked him, "Hey, why did you pull Devin Smeltzer for Tyler Duffy? He was rolling. I think he was at 80 pitches. It was the most pitches he had thrown that to this point." And Rocco said, "Sometimes the decision is made beforehand."
It's as if it came from the mount. Like, that was very weird. I was there, and the first thing I thought of is he's essentially saying, I didn't make the decision.
So before the game, they said X amount of pitches, hard stop for Devin Smeltzer, right?
Here's the other thing Smeltz did last night that keep an eye on this one. He very early in his presser volunteered up that his wife, the quote I'm sure is in all the stories today. I believe it was his wife told him, you need to throw the changeup more. And he made that very clear. And then he said, I went in and was insistent that this be the plan. That to me, let's say this is 2014 and my name is Phil Mackey, spelled correctly, and I'm covering the team. My ears go up because that sounds like, oh, it's a cute storyline. His wife helped him. That's more than that. That's basically informing you that what they are telling me to do isn't working, so we're doing it my way. That's what that is.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I ran into a hornet's nest of D'Angelo Russell defenders on Twitter last night too.
About that,
Saw that.
This has happened a few times. Okay. There is, if you think there is a cavalcade of Cousins crusaders on the internet, there's definitely a den of D'Lo defenders as well, just sitting out there, just ready to pounce.
I love it.
And Sonny Big Steppers says, Phil Mackey is the worst. Minnesota needs new voices. He's no different than these old-ass judges sitting on the bench for 80 years and never changing their viewpoints. This is in reaction to my opinion that D'Angelo Russell, you cannot continue to pay him $30 million a year. You need someone who has more self-awareness and who looks to when they're 3 for 15 in a game, looks to set up Cat and Ant more regularly, which I didn't even know that was a controversial take, but it is for the D'Lo defenders out there. The bad news for Sonny Big Steppers is we are the new voices. So
that's one.
Sorry,
that's
dude.
Bad. 2, you need the old school judge's wig and gavel now.
I know it too.
Clunk, clunk.
I am never changing my takes.
The old school wig though, that judges used to wear. That's what you need.
No, I think you're onto something. Maybe a new segment here. Couple more, and then we gotta go. By the way, let's shout out our friends at Meadows at Mystic here, Declan. Looks like a beautiful time to be golfing.
Oh, I'm juiced to get out on the course this weekend. It's going to be 80s, 90s. It's going to be humid. It's going to be hot. I can't wait to get out and play. And I'm going to be headed down to the Meadows at Mystic Lake, an award-winning 18-hole public golf course conveniently located in Prior Lake. It offers a unique, challenging, and scenic golf experience. Visit golfthemeadows.com to book your tee time and learn more. And while you're there, too, go hit up the Meadows Bar and Grill, which is attached to the Mystic Lake Casino as well. It's a great spot to just enjoy the patio, enjoy the nice Memorial weekend weather. Go check them out, golfthemeadows.com to learn more.
Love it. Okay, this next commenter is anonymous on YouTube. It says, Declan's been pretty quiet recently. Is he okay? And then James Roberts on YouTube follows that up by saying, Declan looks sleepy. Are you okay?
I'm very much okay. I guess to give a glimpse into what's going on in my life lately, I am moving. I'm in the process of a big move next Saturday.
Moving is terrible. It's
the worst. My loving girlfriend, for whatever reason, takes a lot of joy and pride into moving.
Careful.
Lots of it. Has given me plenty of boxes and things and has helped me throw out things and organize things. And I'm very thankful for her for numerous aspects of my life. But that one especially because I hate moving more than anything in the world. So that part's been fun. She also went under the knife for some minor eye surgery yesterday. So I was taking care of her and all that stuff. So yes, I'm very tired. I'm always tired. If it was up to Declan, I would sleep 14 hours a day. I'm kind of like a sloth.
Do you nap?
I would prefer that. Oh yeah, I'm a big time napper. I probably get a nap in at least 2 times a week.
Oh, I napped
Love me a good
yesterday
nap.
for like 2 hours. I said I'm going to take a 30-minute nap, set the alarm, and I hit the snooze button 6 times.
2
The
hours.
sweet spot is 45 minutes. The sweet spot is a 45-minute nap. Anything after that, you're now entering like legitimate sleep, and it's going to mess with the rest of your REM cycle. 45 minutes.
We should do a REM cycle podcast. We were going to do a Timberwolves podcast. We should do a REM cycle
I
podcast.
love
instead.
dreaming. It's one of my favorite
you love
things.
dreaming?
Dreaming?
Dreaming is great. I love dreaming, especially because when you get old, bad dreams are fantastic. I love to dream.
Bad dreams are fantastic?
Yeah.
You enjoy, so those are called nightmares.
I enjoy anything that, look, it's free entertainment. I don't have to turn my TV on. I go to sleep and I get a show.
Your weirdest take.
Really? Don't
It's
you
the
like
most
to dream?
surprising take I've ever heard from you.
Don't you like to dream?
You love to dream in your sleep?
I dreamt
I'm
about, you know what
When
I dreamt
dream,
about?
I'm happy.
I dreamt that the three of us had Dan Barrero on our show.
Huh.
And it was like kumbaya.
probably
It was
pretty
just
good.
like, I don't remember what we talked about.
That'd be a great get, Phil.
We had some great debates. It was fun. It can never happen because rival companies, but
Right. I
Right,
don't know
so
about
that's
that. I mean, we're a podcast, YouTube show.
I don't know. Maybe you can go and facilitate that between the two companies.
It's out there now.
And then one more here, because I know you guys have to get to Billy Guerin on Judd's Hockey Show shortly. Jesse Johnson via the Score North app says, "Hey Phil, curious if you guys are going to come out with merchandise. I've seen Ross with a Score North hoodie, you with a Score North hat. Would love to buy. So we do have a plan. God, we used to have a ton of merch like 2 or 3 years ago. Our staff is so small here now that we just haven't had a great follow up for like an online store, but we will. We've got some plans. We're working on some stuff, and we'd love to get some swag out there. Purple Daily, Score. I don't know. We're coming up with some stuff. That's my answer. Sometime this summer.
Cool.
So, anywho, all right, you guys gotta hit some
gotta go.
slap shots at Billy Guerin here. That is Feedback Friday. Mackey and Judd. Check us out on the Score North YouTube channel. Click subscribe on that and the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Thanks for getting us to 26,000 subs on that channel. We'll talk to you guys.